What if I told you that silence is pregnant with infinite possibility and that some of the greatest minds were able to make their breakthroughs by finding their inner silence? Hello, my amazing friends. Welcome back to Thriveada, your home of everything mind, body, spirit, so we can live our most inspirational and empowering lives. And once again, I am excited to be here, like every week, to deliver a new episode. And today we are going to discuss 3 ways to quiet the mind and why silence is so imperative to living the most amazing and awe-inspired life. It is in those silent moments that we make our biggest breakthroughs, with this being very much the case for just about everyone who has made one in history. And you can do this by reading certain biographies. It is always in the moments of walking, of showering, of being relaxed and silent that people all of a sudden get a download, a hint of inspiration, a muse, and become enlightened in the sense that they now know exactly what they have to do to make the next move, the next step in their life. And we are going to learn how to really cultivate silence to do exactly that, so stay till the end. But I will throw in a caveat that silence is not exactly what we think it is. And by creating a practice around silence, we can unearth more and more amazing information to help us move ahead towards our truest goals. But what do I mean when I say silence is not exactly what we think it is? Well, if you think about it, we only truly see from the infrared to the UV, ultraviolet spectrum, in terms of light. And this is essentially 1 octave. And what do I mean when I say 1 octave? Well, let's look at it this way. In a piano, we're talking from the do to the higher pitch do or lower pitch do note, or from the C to C, which goes through 7 different overarching frequencies, essentially gets multiplied or divided by 2. So one, let's say, is 220 hertz, and when you get to the next C up, will be 440 hertz. Just throw a relatively random number out there, but we have 10 of these octaves that we can actually hear. So if you do the math, there is a whole lot that we don't hear or see. So the question becomes, is silence truly silent? Or perhaps there is all this going on that we cannot see. In fact, if the cosmos, as many suspect, is truly infinite, that means the deeper we can actually silence our mind, the more we begin to speak the language of silence, the more we start to understand the universe. And this has very much been the case for myself, as well as anyone who truly has a practice where they cultivate silence. In fact, the idea of someone passing away and us using the words rest in peace implies that they're going back to this silent or still water on some level. In fact, one might be able to say that we come from silence and we go to silence. Now, the crazy thing about that is, as I just demonstrated, silence is not so silent, which begs another question. Where do we really go? A video indeed for another time. But once again, to tie this into the first thoughts I shared with you, by becoming more and more silent, we have access to more and more information. Hence why it is in those relaxed and relatively silent states that we do tend to make those breakthroughs, because we now tap into the deepest part of ourselves. Because just as the cosmos could very well go for infinity, so do you, because you are the you in verse. And through the cultivation of that silence, we can reach deeper and deeper into our own heart, into our connection with the universe and with Source itself. So now, how do we develop a practice to cultivate silence, to deepen our connection to the infinite? One, we can actually take a trip straight to Source by simply stepping outside, because nature is such a powerful tool, as many of you have probably experienced at some point in your life, for cultivating that silence, that connection. In Japan, they call that force bathing. And in my own personal case, when I first started meditating regularly about 10 years ago, I was moving through some tumultuous waters living in downtown San Francisco, in the city. And I found myself being pulled back to the park near the ocean where my grandpa used to take all of us as children. And so I would trace many of the steps we used to walk through sections of the Golden Gate Park and the ocean and such, and just take in the beauty of nature. And I would find that all of a sudden, when I would get back into the city itself, I would be so much more relaxed. My anxiety was much more calm. I felt much more harmonized with my environment and the people around me. And I found myself much more effective at entering the flow state to accomplish truly great things. So nature, which is very much the universe spiraling its beautiful creations all around us, is a way to access that divine silence. And number two, we can cultivate a meditation practice. You know, I'm a huge proponent of meditation. It's really the reason that I, in many ways, am who I am today, and that I'm offering things I'm offering as we speak. Meditation, of course, changed my life, but what is meditation on many levels? It's beginning to quiet the ripples of the moving mind, and it is by no means easy, hence why it is a practice. A practice implies that we keep on doing it, and I've been doing it just about every day for about 10 years now, and it has made all the difference. But just like any muscle we work in the gym, we want to really keep going at it, no matter how tough it becomes, no matter how much the wandering mind, or the monkey mind as it's often referred to nowadays, no matter how much it wanders and brings an element of chaos, it is through that muscle of bringing our focus back to the breath, to a mantra, to whatever it is. By practicing that in time, we'll be able to do it easier and easier, until we realize that we have much more control over our mind than we could have ever thought possible. And you know what is the step before manifesting anything amazing and beautiful out in the world? First, we must be able to picture it in our own head and heart, more importantly. And when we do, we begin to literally change reality through our hands, and sometimes even without them. The hands help. And this is a perfect segue into number three: be okay with not being silent. As in, when the mind inevitably creeps in, when you're feeling anxiety, when things are tough, be okay with that fact. When we can actually learn to sit with whatever it is that's happening, we are no longer adding friction to the fire. It's like throwing a rock into the lake and then allowing the ripples to peter out on their own is what's going to eventually allow us to truly quiet the mind, by reducing that friction that would otherwise come through frustration or even anger towards ourselves or others. And we can carry this into so many aspects of our lives, but most importantly, to being able to become silent. I am sure, my friends, you will learn the same way I did, that finding true silence, there are truly endless levels of inspiration, of information, of life that we can begin to tap into. And I'm getting chills down my spine as I say this, because I am so excited for all of you to experience this. And so, my friends, I hope you found this massively helpful. I'm linking my meditation down below that will help you cultivate that silence. And I cannot wait till I'm back with you here again next week or the next one. If you have any questions, please ask them down below, and I will see you soon.